In 2003, two European entrepreneurs launched a tiny app that did something radical. It made phone calls free. Not cheaper, not discounted, free. Within 8 years, that app, Skype, had more than 170 million users, and Microsoft paid $8.5 billion to buy it, the largest acquisition in the company's history at the time. Fast forward to 2020, the world shuts down. Everyone suddenly needs internet calling, and Skype collapses. By 2025, it's officially shut down forever. So, how did the company that invented modern internet calling completely miss the moment it was built for? To understand that, we have to rewind, back before Skype even existed. In the late 1990s, Nicholas Zennström and Jonas Friis met while working at a telecom startup in Copenhagen. They were fascinated by one idea above all else: peer-to-peer networks. Their first big project together was Kazaa, a file-sharing platform that spread like wildfire. At its peak, it became the most downloaded application in the history of the internet. It was also wildly illegal. Music labels sued relentlessly, governments cracked down, and Kazaa was eventually shut down. But Zennström and Friis had learned something incredibly valuable: how to build systems that didn't rely on central servers. At the same time, international phone calls were absurdly expensive. Telecom giants like AT&T charged by the minute, especially for cross-border calls. So the founders asked a dangerous question: what if calling worked like file sharing? They recruited a small but elite team of Estonian engineers, many of whom had worked on Kazaa, and gave them one mission: build a way for people to talk to each other over the internet for free. On August 29, 2003, Skype launched its public beta. 10,000 people downloaded it on day one. Within 2 months, it had 1 million users. By 2006, it had over 100 million registered accounts. Skype didn't just work, it worked better than anything else. Its peer-to-peer architecture meant that as more users joined, the system actually became stronger. Calls were clearer, infrastructure costs stayed low.
And most importantly, users didn't pay a cent unless they wanted to call real phone numbers. This was an existential threat to the telecom industry. Long-distance calling, once a goldmine, was suddenly obsolete. Skype's growth was fueled by one powerful force: virality. If you wanted to talk to someone, you simply told them to download Skype, and they did. Growth became exponential. But there was a catch. Only about 3.7% of users ever paid. Skype had massive scale, but no real business model. And yet, that didn't stop the sharks from circling. Google wanted it, Yahoo wanted it, News Corp wanted it. But the winner shocked everyone: eBay.
In September 2005, eBay announced it was buying Skype for up to $4.1 billion. Wall Street hated it. eBay stock dropped immediately. Analysts were confused, and regular users were baffled. Why would an auction marketplace buy a global calling platform? CEO Meg Whitman had a theory. Buyers and sellers, she argued, could use Skype to close complex transactions faster: cars, real estate, high-value items. It sounded logical in boardrooms. In reality, it was fantasy. eBay worked precisely because it was asynchronous. People didn't want phone calls. Messaging on your own time was the feature, not the bug. Skype didn't enhance eBay, it just sat there. What followed was a textbook culture clash. Skype was a fast-moving European startup. eBay was a slow, process-heavy American corporation. The founders left in 2007, very rich, and Skype drifted. Despite the chaos, user growth continued. By 2009, Skype had nearly 480 million registered users. Voice over IP was exploding, and Skype was riding pure momentum. But eBay eventually admitted defeat. In 2007, it wrote down $1.4 billion of the acquisition, publicly acknowledging the synergies never materialized. Then came the twist. When eBay tried to sell Skype, it discovered the founders had retained ownership of key technology. Zennström and Friis sued. The settlement gave them a 14% stake, and only then could Skype be sold. In 2009, a consortium led by Silver Lake Partners acquired 65% of Skype for $1.9 billion. Private equity moved fast. They replaced nearly the entire leadership team,
doubled the engineering staff, accelerated product releases, and pushed Skype aggressively on smartphones. Revenue climbed from $551 million to $860 million. Users surged past 660 million. Skype was finally becoming a real business, but Silver Lake never planned to stay. 18 months later, they found a buyer willing to pay an almost unbelievable price: Microsoft.
In May 2011, Microsoft acquired Skype for $8.5 billion, paying roughly 32 times earnings. It was Steve Ballmer's big bet. Skype would be everywhere: Windows, Xbox, Outlook, the voice layer of the internet. But from day one, the cracks showed. Skype was confusing, the interface was cluttered, and its peer-to-peer architecture, once its superpower, was now a liability in a mobile-first world. Microsoft had to rebuild Skype while hundreds of millions of users depended on it. Calls dropped, errors multiplied, trust eroded. Meanwhile, competitors arrived with terrifying speed. Apple launched FaceTime, pre-installed, frictionless, reliable. Facebook added voice calling to WhatsApp. Google gave away group calls for free. And then came Zoom. Zoom didn't try to be everything. It tried to be easy. One click, no account. It worked even on bad internet. Its founder, Eric Yuan, obsessed over user happiness. During the pandemic, he personally answered customer complaints on Twitter. When COVID hit, Skype should have won. It had brand recognition, market share, experience. Instead, Zoom exploded from 10 million to nearly 300 million daily users in months. Skype collapsed from dominance to irrelevance. Why? Because Microsoft had already moved on. In 2017, Microsoft decided Teams, not Skype, was the future. Skype was left to decay just as global demand for video exploded. By 2023, Skype's daily users had fallen to the mid-30 millions. Annual profit dropped to single-digit millions, irrelevant for Microsoft. In February 2025, Microsoft announced Skype would shut down for good. 21 years after changing the internet forever, Skype was gone. The lesson is brutal and timeless. The people who understood Skype sold it perfectly. The people who didn't paid the price. And in business, misunderstanding your own product is often the most expensive mistake of all.
Hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to The Business Lens. It really helps us keep creating stories like this one. And let us know in the comments what company, empire, or business figure you'd like us to cover next. We read every suggestion, and your idea might be the next deep dive on this channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.